And shut! Now hear this. Now hear this. All hands, four. I've got a secret. I've got a secret. Starring tonight, while Gary Moore is on a week's vacation, the celebrated motion picture and television star, Mr. Ralph Bellamy.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, and welcome to I've Got a Secret. Gary Moore is at sea. Or perhaps I shouldn't put it just that way. Gary is having a vacation for a week, and he is sailing. And he has asked me to sit in for him here tonight, which I'm very happy to do, especially with the knowledge that the armed forces are here to help me hold the fort. And now to adapt for television a phrase which originated in our armed forces: darn the torpedoes, full speed ahead. Now I'd like to have you meet our panel, who will be firing questions as soon as we see the whites of their eyes. First, the very beautifully sunburned Mr. Bill Cullen. Miss Jane Meadows. Mr. Henry Morgan. And Miss Fay Emerson. This is our I've Got a Secret panel. This is the 6th birthday of Armed Forces Week, a time set aside so that we civilians may honor our armed forces, who have spent the last 180 years honoring us. And now we're ready for our first contestant. The United States Marine Corps was founded November 10th, 1775. Its purpose was to serve to advantage on both land and sea. This it has done for 180 years. And never once has it fallen below the great promise of its motto, Semper Fidelis, always faithful. Our first contestant is a corporal in the United States Marine Corps. You come in, please. Panel, I can't give you the corporal's name because it might help you to guess his secret. So, Corporal, I'm going to ask you to whisper your secret to me, and at the same time, we'll reveal it to the audience at home. Very well, panel. To help classify this secret, I will tell you this is something that the corporal did, and we'll begin with the very much sunburned Mr. Bill Cullen.
Thank you, Ralph. Corporal, did you do this in the ordinary pursuit of your living, or your livelihood, in other words, in the Marine Corps?
Yes, at the time, yes.
Was it during the last war?
Mm-hmm. Well, yes.
Yes.
By the last war, then I guess the Korean, was it during the Korean conflict?
No.
The World War II?
Yes.
Was it here in the continental limits of the United States?
No, it wasn't.
Was it in the Pacific Theater?
Yes, it was.
One of the islands?
Yes.
A Marshall Island?
No.
Very well, Corporal. That's 20 down and 60 to go. And Miss Jane Meadows, please.
Corporal, from that applause, it was something heroic that you did. May I assume that?
The corporal may not want to answer that, but I will, yes.
Getting the island, I trust, would help me. Would it have been Iwo Jima or Guadalcanal or... Have I said it?
You have said part
Would
of it,
be
yes.
Iwo Jima?
Yes?
Yes.
Now say the rest of it.
Did it have anything to do with the flag?
Yes.
With the raising of the flag?
Very good, Miss Meadows. This is Corporal Rene Gagnon, who was one of the boys who went up to the top of the hill and raised the flag. Corporal, I think we have a picture here. Will you lower that picture? Taken by Joe Rosenthal. Probably one of the most famous pictures in the world, if not the most famous picture. I understand it's been photographed more times than any picture in history. Printed, that is. Can you find yourself there, Corporal?
Yes, right there, Ralph.
Good. Could you say a few words about the circumstances that led up to this great historic moment, the purpose of it, and the date, perhaps? A few words that we might not be too acquainted with.
I guess everyone knows it was on February 23rd, 1945. The purpose behind it, not so much behind the picture, was taking the island, securing the island. We needed it as a bomber refueling base to Japan. And taking the top of the mountain was just one of the strategic part of it. And being able to plant that flag gave the men fighting throughout the rest of the island support and morale.
That was a symbol, in other words, of its having
That's
been
right.
taken. It must have been a great boon to them, as it was to us.
Surely
Well,
was.
thank you very, very much indeed, Corporal Rene Gagnon. And come over here and receive your money. The money you won, and a carton of Winston.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. The great bravery of the United States Marines comes from the fantastic precision under which they are trained. To give you some idea of this precision, here are Lieutenant Richard Daly and Sergeant Carl Osgood of the United States Marines.
Carry out the drill.
It's hot!
Forward.
Isn't that wonderful? That's the crack Marine Corps drill team from Marine Barracks, Washington, D.C. And now it's time for our next contestant. The United States Air Force came into being in 1918 as an arm of our Army Signal Corps. since then, it has written history in the skies in every part of the earth. In 1947, it was made a separate branch of our armed forces. Our next contestants are a lieutenant and a captain in the United States Air Force. Come in, gentlemen, please. Get in close here. Will you gentlemen tell me and the panel your names, please?
Captain Edward Sperry.
Lieutenant Henry Nielsen.
Very well, Captain Sperry and Lieutenant Nielsen. Will you whisper to me your secret, and we'll reveal it at the same time to our audience at home. I don't know how we're going to do this. I guess half from each. Wonderful. Panel, to help classify this secret, I'll tell you that it is something that these gentlemen did. And we'll begin with Miss Jane Meadows.
Thank you. Did you do this together, gentlemen?
Oh, that's a hard question to answer, Jane. They didn't actually do it together. They did the same thing. They did it at different times.
Different
but They did
times,
the same
I
thing,
see.
and it has the same meaning.
The same meaning.
And
Would it
important.
help me to know when you did do it?
I don't think so, do you?
I doubt that it would.
I doubt that it would.
Would it help me to know where you did it?
I don't think even that would be helpful. It might. It might.
Well, let's see.
Captain says it might.
Were there other people around when you did this? In the air, I guess. Part of the time there were? You did do it in the air, didn't you?
That's right.
You both did it in the air, then. And it wouldn't help me to know where in the air you did it. Were there lots of other planes around?
Up in the air.
Way up in the air. Were there lots of other planes around when you did it?
No.
I see. Were you in the same type of aircraft when you did it?
When we did it, we were in the same aircraft. Same type, yes, ma'am.
Same type. Were you in the same airplane at a different time? By that I mean, were you in an airplane that sometime later the captain was in? Or vice versa?
Yes, I think, yes, that's true, yes. Very well. You have won $20 apiece. That's 20 down and 60 to go. And Mr. Henry Morgan, please, sir.
I don't even understand Jane's question. And the answer was yes, which made it much worse. Well, Ralph, I'll have
They were both in the same ship at different times and did the same thing, which had the same importance, if that'll help you.
All right. Now, listen, I'm going to have to address my questions directly to you because
Very well.
it's always made me very nervous talking to officers. You know, you never get over it? Civilian, sir? Would we know the plane? Is this a famous plane?
No. Well, you
Was it an experimental plane?
I think you can answer that.
No, it was not experimental. All right. Now, the time that elapsed between... Who was in it first? The captain?
I was.
Lieutenant first.
Lieutenant. You were in the plane first. Was there a long time between when you did whatever you did?
I think, Henry, you're a little confused here. The length of time between when one did it and the other did it has nothing to do with it. They each did the same thing on different times.
All right. No, wait. Did you both get out of it? I mean, like, did you
Here
both have to parachute out of it?
Very well. That's 40 down
What did I say?
and 40 to
I
go.
don't think we're very hot on this one, are we?
I'm trying to help you here as much as I can.
Henry didn't get an answer to his, did he, about parachuting out?
Was it a
The
direct question?
Yeah.
Yes,
Did
but on
they
the
both parachute out of it?
Yes, they did parachute.
Oh, fine. Was this from some record height? Did this set some sort of record? That you parachuted from higher than any other man has?
That's right.
You couldn't both have parachuted from the same height exactly.
Yes, they did.
Really?
They evidently-
Well,
Now,
can
can
we
you
have
get
to
the
guess
height?
how high it was?
See if you can.
Well, oh,
Incredible
dear,
height.
they fly so high these days. 60,000? That's 10 miles.
Come on.
60,000, says Henry.
Well,
75.
it's a little high.
40,000.
Over 40? Oh, excuse me. You want to give him money away.
No, go ahead. What are you going to say?
Over 40?
That's
Oh,
right.
Under 50?
Yes.
Under 45?
No.
Under 47?
Yes.
4650.
Under?
46,527 feet, 2 inches and a quarter.
It's a little bit like counting the marbles in the jar. You're pretty close, though. It was
Now,
actually
being a woman,
45,200 feet, am I right?
Wow.
45,000.
Being a woman,
8.5 miles. There's one question that bothered me through all this. Why did you do this?
This is actually a high-altitude bailout test. It's an attempt to prove that an escape system is feasible for use by air crews. It's not the kind of thing you do normally except as a test. And
ejection?
yes, with a downward ejection. And by doing that, we think we've demonstrated that the system can be used by our strategic air command people at any time.
Captain, isn't it true that what you're actually doing is proving that you wouldn't get killed?
That's it in a nutshell.
Isn't it?
They have proven it pretty
Did you
well.
have special equipment?
A parachute, yes.
This is a must, you know. Colonel, I think you did very well with that. Actually, we have some film here of a part of this experiment, which I think we should have on now. And if you gentlemen care to say anything while the film is on, please feel free to do so, and I hope you will.
This is a B-47 bomber, which was used as a test bed. There you just saw the man go out the nose. There's another view of the man. The man and seat leave the aircraft together, and after a 2-second interval, the man will separate from the seat. All these tests were, as Captain Sperry mentioned, to prove the feasibility of this escape system for use by the air crews. It's part of a research and development program that the Air Force is carrying on. There you saw the man separate from the seat, and shortly the parachute will be deployed automatically. The whole system is completely automatic. Separation from the seat and deployment of the parachute.
Anything you can add to that, Captain?
I think you summed it up very well. He'll now descend into the water. If you watch closely, you'll see him jettison the canopy, which is one way of keeping from being drugged on a windy day. There he goes.
Uh-huh. Well, thank you very, very much indeed, Captain Sperry. Lieutenant Nielsen, just a minute now. Here's your money. You got your money.
Right there.
Here's a carton of whiskey for you. Thank you. You too, Captain. Thank you very much indeed. And now it's time for our next contestant. In September of 1775, the entire sea forces of the American colonies consisted of 5 schooners and a sloop. General George Washington outfitted these ships with men from his armies, and the United States Navy was born. Our next contestant is one of the great men of the United States Navy, a commander. Will you come in, Commander, please? Commander, will you tell us your name and where you're from?
My name is Howell Forgy from Pluckerman, New Jersey.
All right. And now will you whisper your secret to me, and at the same time we'll reveal it to our audience at home. Very well, panel. To help classify this secret, I'll tell you this is something that the commander said. And we'll begin with Miss Emerson.
Oh. Commander, did you say this in a public sense? I mean, was it printed in newspapers?
Yes.
He's not old enough to have said that other thing. Sir, did you say it during the Second World War?
I did.
Was it in the middle of an engagement, a naval engagement? Was it in the...
It wasn't a naval engagement.
Was it in the Pacific as opposed to the Atlantic? Was it in the Battle of the Coral Sea or one of the great naval engagements?
It was in one of the great naval engagements.
Were you aboard ship, sir, when you said it?
I was.
And I would know it instantly if I heard it.
I think so.
Yes. Very well, that's 20 down and 60 to go. And Mr. Cullen with his beautiful tan.
Yeah, I have a... did what you said. Now, don't ring the buzzer on me there, fellow. Did what you said, sir, become a popular song in about 6 weeks after you said it?
Oh!
I think it did.
Was it at Pearl Harbor?
It was.
Are you a chaplain?
I am.
I passed. That's one thing I never have the nerve to do. Henry gets nervous talking to officers, and I get nervous talking to chaplains.
All right. We'll put it 40 down and 40 to go, and Miss Jane Meadows can say it.
I should pass then, too.
It'll help
We
your
all
score.
know what it
It'll
is.
help your score.
Wait a minute. I don't.
Henry!
Let's go down one more and let Henry give the answer.
Let's
Come on,
see.
Henry.
We're, You're right. I think I better pass.
You mean I did?
You're insulting, Jane. She's telling me what it is. I guess
So sing it.
it's unfair. Let's go back to Bill.
All right.
No, we are really sort
really
of
feel
enchanted at seeing you. Really,
Yes.
we're sort of kidding around about it, but
Well, now, somebody's got to say it.
well, praise the Lord and
Commander Forgy, is there anything that you might say that we perhaps might not know about leading up to the circumstances of this great historic moment that might be interesting to us?
Well, I was stationed aboard the USS New Orleans, and we were tied up at 1010 dock in Pearl Harbor when the attack began. We were having a turbine lifted, and all of our electrical power wasn't on. And so when we went to lift the ammunition by the hoist, we had to form lines of men, form a bucket brigade. And we began to carry the ammunition up to the quarterdeck and to the guns. And I stood there and directed some of the boys down the port side and some down the starboard side. And as they were getting a little tired, I just happened to say, praise the Lord, and pass the ammunition. That's all there was to it.
Well, thank you very much, Commander. And, of course, that is how the now famous phrase, praise the Lord and pass the ammunition, originated. And, of course, as we all know, as has been said, Frank Lesser picked up the phrase, and it became one of the most popular songs of the Second World War. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the Fort Dix Soldiers Chorus. Thank you very much indeed, gentlemen. Commander Forgy, it's been a great pleasure and honor to have you with us. Here's the money you won, and please accept this carton of Winston.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to say that the great music you've heard this evening has been by the 69th Division Band under the leadership of Warrant Officer Alexander T. DeFranzo. I do hope that you've been impressed as much.
make a statement.
Please do.
There happens to be one that I think really should be made. Mr. Bellamy has talked a lot about the service heroes who I suppose he felt are even inadequate to. We all, the panel, were so thrilled with all that went on. But we have a hero with us. The fact was that when Gary first announced that he was taking a week off, Mr. Eric Severeid was going to take his place, and Mr. Severeid, unfortunately, became sort of ill. Mr. Bellamy took over Gary's place with 2 hours' notice. Another hero.
I think so.
Thank you, Henry, for those kind words, and a speedy recovery to Eric Severeid. And so, ladies and gentlemen, until next week when Gary Moore will be back with you, this is Ralph Bellamy saying good night to the panel, good night to you all, and good night, Gary Moore, wherever you are.